abdominal diaphragm, separating the thoracic cavity above from the abdominal cavity below. Okay, and this is called the diaphragm. Okay, understood? This is also asked in your viva. Name other diaphragms. Pelvic diaphragm is formed by the levator ani. Okay, and oral diaphragm is formed at the floor of the oral cavity. So the diaphragm is a dome-shaped musculotendinous sheet. Silence everyone. Those who don't want to do the class, get out from the class. It separates the thoracic and the abdominal cavities. Its thoracic surface is the superior surface. So it has two surfaces, superior and inferior surfaces. Superior surface is convex on the right and left sides. These are known as cupola or domes of the diaphragm, and it is depressed in the middle part. You can see here, these are the two domes, right and left domes of the diaphragm. Middle part is depressed. This is central tendon over which attaches the heart, lies the heart along with the pericardium. And abdominal surface is the inferior concave surface. This is abdominal surface. It is inferior surface and it is concave. Next, we are dividing it different parts. Peripheral part is muscular or striated and central part is tendinous. These are the two main parts of the diaphragm. Peripheral part and central parts. Central part, which is forming the central tendon, it is tendinous and occupied by the central tendon. And there are some muscle fibers of the diaphragm. The direction of muscle fiber, you can see, it is going towards the central tendon from the periphery. It is directed upward and inward towards the central tendon. Okay. See, this is view from below. Okay. We can see from the abdomen, the diaphragm. From the periphery, the muscles are originating, and white portion represents the central tendon. You can see the three main openings of the diaphragm. Posterior most, this is the aortic opening, okay, which is osteoaponeurotic opening, lies at the level of lower border of T12 vertebra. This is esophageal opening. This lies at T10, and this is vena cava opening, lies at T8. Okay, these are lying over the central tendon, this vena cava opening. And other small openings are there. Here anteriorly, space of Larey. Here posteriorly also there are spaces just beneath the medial arcuate ligament and the lateral arcuate ligament. And these are the crus of the diaphragm. These are the vertebral origin of the diaphragm. Anteriorly, diaphragm is originating from the xiphoid process, costal cartilage and ribs, and posteriorly it is arising from the vertebral body and these ligaments, median, medial, lateral, arcuate ligaments. Okay. These are modifications of mainly thoracolumbar fossa and fossa covering the psoas major and quadratus lumborum. So these are the origin of diaphragm. Diaphragm is important long question. Okay. Origin, insertion, openings can come in your theory, and only openings, the small and large openings you have to write down. Openings of the diaphragm can come as a short note. Okay, 5 marks. So origin, it arises from circumference of the inner surface of the thoracic outlet. Its muscle fibers are grouped into these three parts. It has a sternal origin, costal origin, and vertebral or lumbar origin. Okay. So and these ligaments also gives origin to the diaphragm. Medial lumbocostal arch, this is medial arcuate ligament. Lateral lumbocostal arch is lateral arcuate ligament. Right crus and left crus. You can see here. This is median arcuate ligament. On the two sides, medial arcuate ligament. Here are the lateral arcuate ligament. And these are the crus. Okay. Right crus and left crus of the diaphragm. All these are together forming the posterior part of the origin of the diaphragm. Here also you can see median arcuate ligament, aortic opening. This is medial arcuate ligament. Here is the lateral arcuate ligament. This is the openings, vena cava opening, esophageal opening, central tendon. These are the muscles directed towards the central tendon, okay, from the periphery. And here is the sternum, sternal origin anteriorly, and on here is a gap. This is known as space of Larrey. This gap you can see, these are space of Larrey. Sternal origin arises by two fleshy sleeves from the posterior aspect of the gifford. In this sagittal section, this is the diaphragm. So anteriorly it is originating from the gifford process, posteriorly from the vertebra. Okay. Next there are costal origin. Costal origin, it arises from the inner surfaces of the lower six ribs and their costal cartilages and interdigitating with the transversus abdominis muscle. Next is the lumbar origin or vertebral origin. These origins are divided into these ligaments and the crus. Medial longitudinal arch or medial arcuate ligament. Here is the medial arcuate ligament. It is a tendinous arch in the fossa covering psoas major. The fossa covering psoas major is thickened posteriorly to form this ligament. And medially, it is attached to the side of body of first lumbar vertebra. Here is the first lumbar vertebra. Medially, it is attached, and laterally attached to the front of transverse process of L1 vertebra. You have read during the lumbar vertebra class. It is done or not? Done. So L1 vertebra, you have seen the attachment of these ligaments. Next is lateral arcuate ligament or lateral lumbocostal arch. It is this one, lateral lumbocostal arch or lateral arcuate ligament. It is a tendinous arch in the fossa covering upper part of the quadratus lumborum, medially attached to the front of transverse process of L1 vertebra, laterally attached to the lower border of 12th rib. Okay. Next is two crus, right crus and left crus. Right crus arises from the anterolateral surfaces of the bodies of the upper three lumbar vertebra, L1, L2, L3. This extent is important, comes in your MCQ. Right crus extend up to L3, but left crus extend up to L2 and the intervening intervertebral disc. And left crus arises from the corresponding parts of the upper two lumbar vertebra, L1 and L2. And medial margin of the two crura form the tendinous arch across the front of the aorta called the median arcuate ligament. Here, median arcuate ligament, which is forming part of the aortic opening. These are the medial arcuate ligament, and here is the lateral arcuate ligament. And you see the structures passing through these openings. Through the vena cava opening passes the inferior vena cava and the right phrenic nerve. Through the esophageal opening passes the esophagus, left vagus, right vagus, and the esophageal branches of left gastric artery as the accompanying veins. Through the aortic opening passes the aorta, azygous vein and the thoracic duct. Okay, and these two structures are piercing the crus. On the right crus pierces the greater and lesser splanchnic nerve of right side, and on the left, through the left crus passes the greater and lesser splanchnic nerve and the hemiazygous vein. Okay, so hemiazygous vein is piercing this left crus. Next, just beneath the medial arcuate ligament passes the sympathetic chain, extending from thorax to abdomen, sympathetic chain. And just beneath the lateral arcuate ligament passes the subcostal vessels and the subcostal nerve. Subcostal nerve is 12 thoracic nerve. So these three structures are passing beneath the lateral arcuate ligament. So these structures are mainly passing the diaphragm, and anteriorly through the space of Larrey passes the superior epigastric vessels. Okay. So now we are going to the insertion of the diaphragm. Insertion is occurring into the central tendon. So origin is occurring from the periphery and insertion near the center, near the central tendon. Okay, and insertion is trilobar in shape as it is three leaflets. This is middle leaflet, right and left leaflets. Okay, so middle leaflet is triangular in shape with its apex directed towards the gyphoid process. Here is the apex and base is directed towards the midline. And right and left leaflets, these are tongue sepate. These are, you can see, these are tongue sepate, curved laterally and backward, and left is narrower than the right. This is left, this is right. So left is narrower than the right leaflet. Next is central point. Four well-marked diagonal bands fan out from the central point of intersection, and it is located in front of the esophageal opening. Here you can see the crisscross bands of the muscle. Okay, these are the central point. Next we are going to the openings of the diaphragm. This is very, very important, asked in your viva table, also important for theory, short note, part of the long question. So there are large opening or main openings in the diaphragm and some small openings in the diaphragm. These are the three large openings. Posterior most, here is the aortic opening, and this is lowermost. You can see it lies at lower border of T12, 12th thoracic vertebra. Anterior to it, here is the esophageal opening. It lies at the level of T10 vertebra, okay, lower border of T10. And this is vena cava opening, through it passes the inferior vena cava. It lies at the level of 8th thoracic vertebra. Okay, these are the three main openings of the diaphragm. This is aortic opening, this is esophageal opening, this is vena cava opening, and other small openings are there. So we will discuss these three openings in details. Okay, first is aortic opening or aortic hiatus. It is the osteoaponeurotic opening. See, posteriorly it is formed by the 12th thoracic vertebra and anteriorly by this median arcuate ligament. That's why it is osteoaponeurotic. Okay, and it lies at the lower border of T12 vertebra. Shape is rounded, and these are the structures passing through this opening: abdominal aorta, thoracic duct, and azygous vein. Okay, azygous vein is going upward, draining into the superior vena cava. Thoracic duct is also starting from the cisterna chyli, entering into the thorax, and abdominal aorta, thoracic aorta is descending downward as the abdominal aorta. And these three structures are passing through the aortic opening. Okay, and effect of contraction of diaphragm, it has no change. The shape of the opening does not change. It neither shortens neither broadens during inspiration and expiration. Okay, during inspiration diaphragm contracts, and during expiration diaphragm relaxes. Okay, so next we are going to the esophageal opening. This effect of contraction comes in your MCQ question. Okay, so you can see there was no change for aortic opening. Esophageal opening is constricted because it is lying within the muscle. Okay, so esophageal opening is lies at the muscular part of the diaphragm at the level of T10. Shape is elliptical. Previous one was oval. It is elliptical. Structures passing through the esophageal opening is esophagus, gastric or vagus nerve, both vagus nerve, right and left. You have seen in the picture. Esophageal branches of left gastric artery and corresponding tributaries of left gastric veins. Phrenicoesophageal ligament connecting the esophagus with the diaphragm, and lymphatics from the liver also passes through this opening. So you must remember the structures passing through this opening. And as it is lying over the muscular part of diaphragm, the effect of contraction of diaphragm, it leads to opening this opening is constricted during the contraction of the diaphragm. Next, we are going to vena cava opening. Okay, it is situated in the central tendon of the diaphragm. Central tendon is a tendinous structure. It is not muscular structure. Okay, so when the muscles contract, it will relax or no change. So situation it is lies in the central tendon of the diaphragm at the level of T8, the vena cava opening. Shape is quadrilateral and thus these structures are passing inferior vena cava, branches of the right phrenic nerve, few lymph vessels from the liver. What will be the effect of contraction of diaphragm? This vena cava opening dilates during the contraction of the diaphragm. And more blood enters the right atrium. Through the inferior vena cava, blood is going from the lower limb to the heart. Okay. Next, we are going to the small openings. So each crus is pierced by greater splanchnic nerve and lesser splanchnic nerve. Additionally, the left crus is pierced by hemiazygous vein. You have seen in this picture. Behind the medial arcuate ligament passes the sympathetic chain which passes from thorax to the abdomen. And behind the lateral arcuate ligament passes the subcostal nerves and vessels. Next is Larry's space or foramen of Morgagni. This is passage of superior epigastric vessels and lymphatics. It passes through the space of Larry or foramen of Morgagni. And musculophrenic vessels pierce the diaphragm at the level of 9th costal cartilage. Okay. These are the two terminal branches of the internal thoracic artery. This superior epigastric artery and musculophrenic artery. See here, this is aortic opening and passing structures are aorta, azygous vein, thoracic duct. Esophageal opening, esophagus, two vagus, and esophageal branches of the left gastric artery accompanying veins. Here through the inferior vena cava and the right phrenic nerve, vena cava opening. Okay, and these are the crisscross fibers of the central tendon, and this is the center of the diaphragm. Okay, and see through the undercover of this medial arcuate ligament passes the sympathetic chain. Greater and lesser splanchnic nerves are piercing the crus, and left crus is also pierced by this hemiazygous vein. And beneath the lateral arcuate ligament passes the subcostal vessels and nerve. So these are the small openings, large openings, and the structure passing through all these openings. Next, we are going to relations of the diaphragm. Superiorly, it is related to pleura and the pericardium, and inferiorly related to the peritoneum, liver, fundus of the stomach, spleen, kidneys, and the suprarenal. This is the nerve supply. It has motor supply and sensory supply. Motor supply is solely from the phrenic nerve, ventral rami of C3, C4, C5. Okay, so that's why in case of injury near the neck cervical region, there is high chance of injury to these nerve roots C3, C4, and C5, and there is respiratory paralysis. Okay. Next is sensory supply. Sensory supply, central part is sensory nerves passes through the phrenic nerve. So phrenic nerve is a mixed nerve. It has motor fibers, also sensory fibers. And from the peripheral part, sensory fibers are going through the lower 6 thoracic nerves. Sensory fibers are coming through these nerves, lower 6 thoracic nerves. What is the action of the diaphragm? It is the muscle of inspiration. Increases the supero-inferior diameter of the thoracic cage. Okay, diaphragm descends during the contraction, during inspiration, and it ascends or relaxes during the expiration. And it is the muscle of abdominal straining. Okay, during defecation, parturition, micturition, When you strain or during vomiting, during straining, this diaphragm contracts. And weightlifting muscle, it also contracts during heavy weightlifting, and it also acts as thoracoabdominal pump. Okay, that means it can increase voluntarily the abdominal pressure or in the thoracic pressure. Okay, next, how it develops. Development also comes as a part of the long question. Okay, so it develops from septum transversum. Septum transversum forms the central tendon of the diaphragm. This development is also important for your MCQs. Okay, and the pleuroperitoneal membrane form the dorsal paired portions, and lateral thoracic wall contributes to the circumferential portion, most lateral most part of the diaphragm, and dorsal mesentery of the esophagus forms the dorsal unpaired portion. See here, this is the dorsal mesentery of the dorsal mesentery of the esophagus. Okay, this forms the dorsal unpaired portion. These blue portions are the pleuroperitoneal membrane. These are forming the dorsal paired portion, and this is the septum transversum. Orange colored portion is the septum transversum. It forms the central tendon of the diaphragm, and from the thoracic wall this red peripheral portion is formed. Okay, so this is the parts forming the diaphragm. So you practice a schematic diagram like this and the structures forming the diaphragm, you remember for your MCQ and part of long question. Next, we are going to different clinical aspect. Development is important for this clinical aspects. Okay, you will get patients of diaphragmatic hernia, generally children's. Okay, so there is sometimes congenital hernias. So diaphragmatic hernias we are dividing into two parts: congenital hernias and acquired hernias. Congenital means there is less development is not proper. Okay, so there will be defect in different parts of the diaphragm, and abdominal contents can enter into the thoracic cavity through this abnormal opening. So first is retrosternal hernia. Here, through the foramen of Morgagni or the space of Lare, this is enlarged. Okay, and the abdominal contents, some gut loop can enter through into the thoracic cavity through this opening. Next is posterolateral hernia through the foramen of Bok-Dalek. It is also known as Bok-Dalek's hernia. Next is posterior hernia. It occurs due to failure of development of posterior part of the diaphragm. Another is central hernia. It occurs due to rupture of fetal membranous diaphragm in the left dome. Okay. Next, we are going to acquired hernia. This is not due to developmental defects. It is acquired means it develops later on due to some injury or due to some diseased condition. Okay. So traumatic hernia, it occurs due to bullet injuries of the diaphragm. Next is hiatal hernia. Hiatal hernia is another, also divided into two parts: congenital hiatal hernia and acquired hiatal hernia. See, this is congenital, this is rolling type of hiatal hernia, and this is acquired or sliding type of hiatal hernia. In congenital hiatal hernia, the gastroesophageal junction is not moving upward. Okay, only a part of fundus of stomach is herniating through the esophageal opening into the thorax. And here in sliding hernia, the gastroesophageal opening is pushed upward. Okay, during the hernia. So, congenital hiatal hernia or rolling type of hernia due to persistence of embryonic peritoneal process in the posterior mediastinum in front of the cardiac end of the stomach. This is the reason of hernia. You remember the picture. Okay, part of the fundus of stomach herniates into the thorax. In acquired hiatus hernia or sliding hernia, it occurs due to weakness of the phrenicoesophageal membrane. Okay, and here gastroesophageal junction is pushed upward into the thorax. These are the spaces of hernia. Here is Morgagni's foramen through which herniation occurs through foramen of Morgagni or space of Lare. Here is central hernia. Central opening is at the central tendon. Okay. Here is the opening in Bogdale's hernia. These are the three main hernias, diaphragmatic hernias, and those two, sliding and rolling type of hiatal hernia. Hiatal hernia means it is herniating through its normal opening, okay, but opening is enlarged. Hiatal hernia occurs through this esophageal opening, okay. So these locations you remember. This is Morgagni's hernia, this is central hernia, and this is Bogdale's hernia, posterolaterally Bogdale's hernia, okay. This picture you practice congenital rolling type of hernia, fundus is herniating, acquired sliding type of hernia, gastrofacial esophageal junction is pushed upward. Okay. So this hernias also comes in your part of the long question. Okay. And diaphragmatic hernia can individually come as a short note or some part of the long explain why question. Okay. Okay, that's all. Any queries from this topic? So for diaphragm, you prepare the origin, insertion, nerve supply, action. This comes in your long question. Okay, and openings. Openings can come as individual short note and clinical aspect. The diaphragmatic hernia, it comes in your short note or part of long question. Okay, development is important for your MCQs. Okay, also part of long question. And the changes of shape during inspiration and expiration in different three large openings. That is also important for your Viva and MCQs. Any further queries? No queries? And diaphragm viscera we don't have, but if in some colleges you have the viscera of diaphragm, you will be given in your Viva table also, viscera table, along with the thoracic viscera. Okay, any further queries from this topic? No queries? Okay, that's all. Thank you.